MTV is known as the mecca of wild shows, from groundbreaking animations such as Beavis and Butthead and Celebrity Deathmatch, to pop culture staples like Jackass and Pimp My Ride. And all of these shows aim to be as edgy as possible, rebelling against the very system it exists within. So, with this knowledge in mind, you would assume that nothing could possibly be too edgy for this network, right? Well, that's where Vernon Chapman and John Lee come in with their kids show, Wonder Chosen.
Dragging the good book against the Christian's face.
Which ran for a total of 2 seasons and only 1 year between 2005 to 2006. And I say kids show in the loosest term possible because Wonder Chosen is actually a dark parody of children's television.
Profiting off the suffering of others? High five!
Poking fun at just about everything we are taught as kids, and also giving us a stark warning of how the future may look if we don't correct some of our actions. And in addition to parodying children's television, the show also utilizes puppets and children to form a scathing critique of politics, war, and religion, and how these elements are used to control the general populace.
Now, global politics in 30 seconds!
So, in order to break the show down in the most effective way possible, I will delve into the show's 4 key segments separately, starting with the puppets, as well as a little bonus segment at the end. So, from first glance at the puppets, it's really clear to see the influence that shows like Sesame Street and The Electric Company have had on Wonder Chosen, with the show mimicking the letters and numbers theme that kids show employ all too often, in order to deliver a much darker message to the audience.
Nervous.
Huh? Are you nuts?
Nuts.
And this can be witnessed when the letter P is bullied by all of the other puppets for being deformed, which then provokes her to go and have liposuction to remove her deformity instead of embracing her inner beauty. And the worst part about all of this is that the letter P then regurgitates the same hatred that she experienced onto anyone that she now perceives to be lesser than her surgically augmented beauty standard.
Not cause you're blubbering body, you big obese behemoth!
Get in here, you hideous troll, and I'm gonna be a pop princess. You revolting beast.
And this critique of beauty standards has only become more fitting over the years, as we see entire ecosystems of surgically enhanced men and women building themselves as influencers, with their blue tick status enabling some truly horrible behavior. And these puppets don't just exist to parody unrealistic beauty standards, but they are also utilized brilliantly to mock the divide that we create within ourselves as people.
Stare at these keys for a sec. Hey kids, isn't this guy an idiot? You want to hear him say some more stupid stuff?
Whether it be through financial status, or popularity, or even just hating people for the sake of it. With Season 1, Episode 4, Diversity, poking fun at just how stupid war really is. And this episode also does a great job at mocking the sheer horridness of the human condition, as the number 8 poisons the letter J just to prove that numbers are smarter than letters.
I told you numbers are smarter. Let's leave this letter to die. I still love you.
Ultimately winning their pointless little race war. And at this point, you may be thinking, wow, that's pretty twisted, but hey, we haven't even scratched the surface yet. And what better way to do this than with Beat Kids?
Kids on the beat, kids on the street, beat kids, beat kids.
That's right, they really named this segment Beat Kids without thinking twice. And I've gotta say, that takes a lot of moxie. So, as funny as the name is, the Beat Kids segment is centered around posing some truly challenging moral and ethical questions to members of the public, through the lens of a seemingly innocent child.
How many classes of med school do you have to flunk to become a pharmacist?
That's a good question.
Who's gonna pay for these things? I mean, spiritually.
Spiritually?
And this segment has rightfully gone on to be a fan favorite. And even after 17 years of this show being off the air, I still see lots of people on the internet quoting some of their favorite lines from Beat Kids. And in my view, this is a top tier segment that really makes the audience question the moral implications of things that have been normalized within our society, with my personal favorite Beat Kids segment being filmed on Wall Street.
When the revolution comes, where will you hide?
Under my bed.
Profits before people.
However, this segment definitely wasn't without its controversy, as one of the skits involved a boy dressing up as you know who, and asking people what's wrong with the youth of today, which I must say is a brilliant piece of irony from the writers. So, at this point, if I'm an MTV executive, I'm sweating buckets to say the least. So let's go ahead and calm those nerves with something that children have unanimously loved since the start of time. Cartoons. Ah yes, cartoons. The safe haven for children to be educated by all of their favourite animated friends. And of course, as we all know, animation is a place where adult ideas are never ever shown to children.
Brian, we're pregnant! Oh my god!
So, let's take a look at one of the cartoons in Wonder Chosen, shall we?
I wanna try it.
And the strong shall devour the meek's reward.
That's right, somehow the cartoons in Wonder Chosen are even weirder than the live action segments, if that's even possible. With Hobo Ops, Winobot, and Hebro being my personal favourites within the show. And funnily enough, the character shown within Hebro is essentially an early version of Xavier from Xavier Renegade Angel, which is the show that Vernon Chapman and John Lee made after Wonder Chosen. And if you listen closely enough, you can hear a lot of the same mannerisms in the way that these two characters talk.
His wordplay, it's too biting.
I hope you relish the pain.
I don't polycotton to coping tropes, even my own.
And just like the rest of the show, the cartoons within Wonder Chosen serve a deeper purpose, with Hobo Ops in particular being a brilliant critique of how America abandons their soldiers after returning from war.
But now, due to a woefully inadequate veterans benefit system, they're living on the streets, and they're known as Hobo Ops.
In particular, this sketch points out the lack of food and care that they receive, as well as the many symptoms of battle, including PTSD, that these soldiers now have to endure. However, one cartoon from Wonder Chosen has gained infamy within internet culture above all else, and that cartoon is Celebrate Our Differences.
We got to celebrate our differences.
And honestly, the only thing that grinds my gears about this sketch is the lazy meme pages that rip this song off without ever giving credit to Wonder Chosen. And it's gotten to the point where even fans of Wonder Chosen don't even know if the song is from the show or just a general internet meme. And so, before my gears get grinded anymore, let's cool off with our good friend Clarence, and his playful interviews with the friendly and happy-go-lucky people on the streets of New York. And oh boy, surely nothing can go wrong here. Right?
Hey, what are you running away from? No. Are you running away from something?
Get out of here!
What are you running from? Huh?
And just as one may suspect, riling up the citizens of New York with a hand puppet isn't exactly the safest thing to do, with Vernon Chapman actually having a knife pulled out on him whilst filming as Clarence. However, it wasn't all nasty when it came to Clarence, as the segment created some of the funniest and genuinely most wholesome moments of the entire show.
I just want to pump you for information about the future. Oh yeah, I'll pump you.
And another thing I love about this segment is that Clarence is voiced by the showrunner Vernon Chapman, who also voices Towley in South Park. And this Towley-inspired high-pitched voice suits the puppet of Clarence so perfectly, with Chapman's performance being so convincing that people would genuinely talk and direct all of their anger towards the puppet instead of the man controlling him, which I always just find incredible even after watching multiple times. And many people agree with this sentiment, as Clarence is easily one of the most popular characters within Wonder Chosen, with people still to this day posting clips of Clarence in public freakout subreddits. So, now that we've gone over the 4 key areas of the show, it's time to move on to the bonus section, memes and impact. So, what memes still live on from Wonder Chosen? Well, that's a very good question, me. And the answer is, well, for a show that has mostly been erased from the public zeitgeist and is now only accessible on the Internet Archive in most countries, there's actually quite a large number of memes that have lived on these past 17 years. Of course, as mentioned previously, there's the infamous Celebrate Our Differences song. However, an absolute gem of a meme that you may not know is from Wonder Chosen is the That's Racist meme. And this reaction genuinely shaped a lot of internet culture that we know and love today. And I still remember when I was younger and I'd go on Try Not to Laugh challenges, I would see this meme at least a dozen times sprinkled into any controversial videos. So, a big props goes to Vernon and John for creating so many memes that have lasted the test of time. But hey, it's not just me who's a fan of Wonder Chosen, as Eric Andre has publicly shown his support for the show, and has even taken quite a bit of inspiration from the show's formatting and visuals, which has in turn created another brilliant absurdist piece of work. And not only this, but many similarities are to be found between Wonder Chosen and the middle seasons of South Park, that Vernon Chapman lended his writing and producing skills to, with, in my view, the best example of this being the Imagination song. Which was originally used in Wonder Chosen and then developed as a full song for South Park's Imagination Land. However, I think it's safe to say that the biggest fan of Wonder Chosen is Adult Swim, as despite Wonder Chosen never being shown on their network, Adult Swim decided to use real money and television space to promote a show that wasn't even theirs, just because they admired the creative vision of Vernon Chapman and John Lee. In fact, Adult Swim loved the show so much that when there was a season 2 screening of Wonder Chosen, the only executive in the room was for Adult Swim, despite the meeting being for MTV executives who never showed up. And with this, Vernon and John knew that season 2 of Wonder Chosen would be the last. So, they decided to go out with fireworks, with the penultimate episode essentially just being a 20-minute long redneck joke called Horse Apples.
You're watching Horse Apples!
You know why I love my husband?
Beats me.
Yeah, mine beats me too.
And the finale being a 20-minute Clarence special, with Clarence going around New York asking people why they think TV sucks. And after listening to all of their complaints, Clarence would then challenge them to make compelling TV on the spot, since it's so easy.
I bet you can make some compelling TV in 3, 2, 1, go! Make good TV!
And of course, this is a brilliant jab at MTV as well as the general viewing public. And so, after only 2 seasons, MTV cancels Wonder Chosen. And at this point, you may be wondering, why? I mean, the show has gone on to be a cult classic, so why did MTV want to get rid of it so desperately? Well, just the same as any other cancellation, there's a number of reasons. And I think it's fair to say that one of the main reasons is the extremely edgy content of the show, which even in the year 2006, on an edgy network like MTV, was still seen as a considerable risk. And on top of this, the show wasn't exactly a smash hit, with the average viewership ranging from 1 to 1.5 million, which was distinctly average amongst all of the MTV programming at this time. So, with all of these factors combined and none of the executives seemingly being interested in the show, a cancellation was inevitable. However, don't be too upset, as Vernon Chapman and John Lee were immediately picked up by Adult Swim, and were commissioned to make the show Xavier Renegade Angel, which became an all-time cult hit classic for Adult Swim, and Vernon Chapman has continued to make projects for Adult Swim throughout the years, including most recently The Shivering Truth, which has gone on to achieve mass critical acclaim. And this truly just goes to show that if you make incredible pieces of work, eventually the right people will find you. And as always, stay happy, stay safe, stay wonderful.